Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community.
Well, good morning. The time being 9 a.m, I declare open the general meeting for the Gladstone Regional Council for Tuesday the 4th of July. The first item on the agenda is apologies, and we have all present, so no apologies. The next item on the agenda, councillors, is messages of condolence. Do we have any messages of condolence? No messages of condolence. Then the next item is our prior notifications of conflicts of interest. Tanya, do we have any registered conflicts?
No prior notifications.
Thank you, councillors. If you acknowledge any conflicts throughout the meeting, reminder to raise them at the appropriate time. The next item on the agenda is the Mayor's statement on current issues, and I want to start by acknowledging everyone involved in the Mount Larkham show. What a fantastic event that was, held just recently. Well done to all the volunteers. It was an absolute amazing family agricultural show in Mount Larkham. I look forward to the event again next year. We announced the funds raised from the Santos GL&G Mayor's Charity Ball just recently, raised over $123,000, which means more than $40,000 each for our three local beneficiaries, which are the Turtle Rehabilitation Centre on Coyne Island, the Animal Rescue Group, and of course the Zonta Club of Gladstone. So a little over $41,000 each. Fantastic. Thank you to Santos, all of our sponsors, our committee, our volunteers, Councillor Grady representing me on the committee as well. It continues to raise great funds for our local community over a number of years. Over $600,000 now the ball has raised since the very first one a few years ago, and obviously the next one will be held in 2025, every 2 years. Also to the team at the Boyne-Burnett Inland Rail Trail, recently opening the new section of the Boyne-Burnett Inland Rail Trail, thanks to funds from Gladstone Area Water Board, was opened by the member for Gladstone, Glenn Butcher, just recently, and that connects 4 Mile Scrub up to Boyndale Bush Camp. So I recommend anyone who hasn't been and checked out the rail trails yet, obviously the tunnels around Kelpara are fantastic, and all the way into towards Yubobo as well. But then the new leg open now from Boyndale Bush Camp, and we got the opportunity to go for a ride along there on the tracks last week, so I recommend that people go out and check that out as well. It's an absolute fantastic tourism opportunity for the Boyne Valley. This week is NAIDOC week, and we started by celebrating with the traditional flag raising ceremony at the front of the Gladstone Regional Council chambers yesterday. The exhibition opened at the Gladstone Regional Art Gallery Museum last night. Unfortunately, the march is planned to be cancelled for Wednesday due to weather. However, I believe Friday.
Friday is praying for, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, well there you go. Maybe it's cancelled because of Friday's weather, but I thought it was Wednesday. But that's fine. March is not happening. But I do believe that the expo at the community precinct in Phillip Street is still proceeding on Wednesday. So that's fantastic. And lots of other events. Check out the NAIDOC Facebook page for more information. Other events coming up, of course, we've got the Mayor's Youth Breakfast. Nominations have opened. They opened yesterday for the Mayor's Youth Breakfast. So if you know someone, a younger generation, under 25, that's doing amazing things, whether it's in sport, whether it's in culture, whether it's volunteering their time, whether it's academic, we want to acknowledge the younger generation through a nomination for the Mayor's Youth Breakfast, and they close on the 3rd of July. No, not to close on the 3rd. They open on the 3rd of July. They'll close in a couple of weeks' time. So make sure you jump on Council's website for more information. Nominate some of our fantastic youth members. I know our youth councillors will absolutely be there, but there are so many other younger people in our community doing amazing things. So please make sure you nominate them. I know that certainly volunteering in some of our amazing community organisations. Of course, Luminous is coming up on Thursday the 13th of July, right through to Saturday the 15th of July. There are tickets available for the Thursday night event, which is 2,500 people. So it's a ticketed event on Thursday night, free on Friday and Saturday night. So I don't know how many tickets are left, but that's a preview. So very, very affordable. If you want to go on the Thursday night, get your tickets through Council's website. 2,500 people. We listened to community last year. We had 5,000. Committee said that was too many, cut it in half, 2,500 on Thursday night. And on Friday and Saturday night, as I said, it's free. Not even a gold coin donation, it's completely free. You can go right in and take the family and enjoy Luminous, and encourage everyone right around Central Queensland to enjoy that amazing event at our Tondoon Botanic Gardens. And two more things I'd like to mention before we move on with the agenda, and that's firstly to congratulate Delaney Claridge, who has been selected in the Under-19 Queensland State of Origin women's team, so well done, Delaney. Yes, Club Aristis girl. Also Central Queensland Capra. Yeah, that's right. There you go. Thank you, Councillor O'Grady and Madam CEO. Nothing like a bit of rivalry between the Fist and the Roosters. But of course, also Mavis Penrose is celebrating 100 years. Her birthday was the 24th of May, and we'll be doing a tree planting ceremony, weather permitting. We have a backup plan to have a ceremony here at the council chambers if the rain is here. So that'll be happening this week. So happy birthday, Mavis! 100 years on the 24th of May. Mavis was born in 1923 and lived locally since 1961, and most of that time in the Boyne Valley, moving to Calliope in the late 90s. And I thank the National Seniors and our team at the Botanic Gardens for organising that event as well. Thank you, councillors. The next item on the agenda is a confirmation of minutes, and we have 2 minutes to confirm. So firstly, looking for a mover to confirm the special budget meeting for the 20th of June 2023. Move Councillor Hanson, seconded Councillor Cameron. Put the motion, all in favour? It's carried. The next item is G2.2, which is a confirmation of the general meeting minutes of the 20th of June 2023. Move Councillor Churchill, seconded Councillor Trevor. No questions or comments, put the motion, all in favour, and that's carried as well. Thank you. We have no deputations this morning, so we'll move straight into our officers' reports. And the first officers' report is G4.1, which is 2023-2024 strategic priorities. And I'll hand over to the Acting General Manager of Strategy and Transformation, Helen Robertson. Welcome, Helen.
Good morning, Mr Mayor and councillors. This morning we're presenting the Strategic Priorities publication for 2023-24. The publication is focused on regional advocacy and raising awareness for our region's needs to all levels of government, including the opposition, stakeholders, industry and investors, and it provides a clear and concise set of priorities and policy initiatives to advocate for regional prosperity. The Strategic Priorities publication comes under two themes: enabling prosperity and enabling infrastructure. The elements under enabling prosperity include renewable energy and the transitioning economy, health, housing, skills development and retention, regional water supply and wastewater infrastructure, and establishing the Royal Navy Fleet Base North Port of Gladstone. In terms of enabling infrastructure, the elements are Gladstone heavy vehicle and oversize overmass load transport corridor, the Inland Rail Trail extension to the Port of Gladstone, the Boyne-Tanham Aquatic Recreation Centre, Harvey Road Sports and Events Precinct, and of course the Harbour Arbour. The publication is the culmination of a wide-ranging consultation and collaboration with both internal and external stakeholders and is recommended for your endorsement today.
Thank you, Helen. Questions to the Acting General Manager, please. No? Mover?
No, I just wanted
question?
to...
Yep.
Sorry, you can go first.
Councillor Muscat?
Thank you. I support all of the initiatives wholeheartedly, but it's great to see we're advocating for a little bit more for health and our health needs in the region, advocating for equitable and fit-for-purpose health care solutions for the Gladstone region, and also in the housing sector. It's great to see us advocating for the special needs housing in Gladstone as well. So, commend the report.
Thank you, Councillor Hanson. Councillor Muscat?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to say pretty much similar things to what Councillor Hanson said, especially in relation to health and housing. We have had a lot of conversations around that, and I'm glad we sort of have some sort of direction. Now, I support all of the initiatives in this document, but one. So I'll say that will actually make me have to vote against it. So, and not necessarily because I do see the wonderful value that it is in all of the other projects, but the one in relation to establishing the Royal Australian Navy Fleet Base North Port Gladstone in page, I think it's in the document, it's one of the first ones. Mm-hmm. So I guess this project has come to, anyway, to my knowledge and to my space through the CQ ROC advocacy and defence strategy that this council has also invested in. So we have invested ratepayers' money into consultancy services to have a defence strategy, well, a business case, feasibility study / advocacy document in relation to a number of things, including this is part of the defence strategy, if I understand correctly. So we have had a couple of information sessions with some of these consultants, but again, I have the CQ ROC is a separate organisation that I only see their minutes anyway, and I have got the defence strategy. I have asked in the past the questions, and I still have them today, as to, well, I see economic benefit, I still don't understand, I do understand, but who is that benefit for? There's also things I see here that are not named or they're not considered, and I am concerned. So those will be other impacts in relation to social issues, cultural issues, environmental issues, political issues. So, there's a lot of questions for me. So, and what I can see that, the bigger picture, and people are looking at some of those things, the defence strategy for me at this stage is kind of a promotional brochure to entice the Australian government to consider our region. But we haven't actually I guess, gone into a little bit more detail as to what it actually means for our people. So that's why I have concerns. So I guess in the a few months ago, we rejected a development application because we were concerned about, hydrogen and gas and the, domestic use of a pilot plant that was close to a school and in populated areas, even though I believe it was actually recommended for approval. We had a few discussions, and because of some of the pressure and also some of the questions we had in relation to safety, we decided to reject that development application. So this isn't a question that I want you to answer. So, but how that, for example, compare to having nuclear submarines outside our homes? So, and I don't really need an answer to that. Because
when the time comes, I can answer it, because it's not about nuclear submarines. It's about fleet-based north, and that involves ships. And
I understand that.
There's
still, that is one thing, and then there's also the fleet. That doesn't take away all the questions and concerns I have about the social impacts, environmental impacts, political impacts, and those things. So those are things that I haven't had an answer to my questions. So, I guess that's where I stand. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Muscat. Obviously, I have a very differing opinion to that. If you just need to go to Townsville and see the economic benefits to the community of Townsville by having military presence, even in Rockhampton, just north of us. This is part of the ROC, which we are part of Central Queensland, which the strategy we put to the federal government and supported by the Queensland government was that Central Queensland makes sense. We've got Shoalwater Bay training area, we have an extensive airport in Rockhampton, and we have an amazing port, and there's nowhere else on the east coast of Australia that has those opportunities, and which is why everyone in the federal government, opposition as well, said Central Queensland makes sense. And I think if you read the Defence Strategic Review, it almost, without saying the words Gladstone, it says a base north of Brisbane on the east coast. Nowhere else on the east coast, north of Brisbane, is more suitable than the Port of Gladstone. Now, nuclear submarines can scare people if they don't understand them, but this is not about nuclear submarines. This is a bigger picture, and it is about a navy and a military presence in Central Queensland, which will benefit Central Highlands will benefit Rockhampton, will benefit Gladstone, and will benefit Livingston. The Central Highlands has opportunities there as well, so that's why I mentioned them. So it is good for Central Queensland. I get that, Councillor Muscat, you don't have some questions answered, but the report is there, and it highlights this is a high level. This is about getting a presence. What that would involve is probably going to take a decade to resolve. But our motto, I guess you could say, at Gladstone Regional Council is connect, innovate and diversify, and this is diversifying our economy. We are diversifying into transitioning into renewables and into renewable energy, and our local industry is transitioning into renewable energy as well. This is another opportunity for our community to benefit from the significant investment that Defence make in Australia. Councillor Churchill.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mayor Matt. I think Councillor Muscat's made her position clear on it. But like anything, they would be required, whoever, the Royal Navy would be required to do environmental impact studies, social impact studies, economic benefit studies, environmental impact studies, if we would ever get to that stage. My question appropriately is, seeing the long list of significant high-level strategic priorities, they're all priority one. I wouldn't like people, I'm asking the question, they're all priority one in your opinion, because I wouldn't like to think that we'd start picking, cherries or low-hanging fruit. They're all prioritised on the basis when the opportunity presents itself, we will target it. Is that the case?
That's right. I think there's not a ranking. It's really all of these things require outworking, and as those opportunities present, as you suggest, then we will take those advantage, knowing that it was listed in our strategic priorities.
Thank you.
Councillor Goodluck.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. And I'm happy to move, I don't know if you've got a mover yet, move the officer's recommendation. I think this is a great strategic priorities list. This is a number of issues that can significantly assist our community and change our community for the better, which is, and that's what this is basically an advocacy document. And I appreciate Councillor Muscat's questions. I'm sure there's a lot of people with the same questions. But I note, you know, with regards to safety, we see a military presence in Townsville, in Darwin, interacting with industry, communities. There's certainly do that safely. And I think we've got a gross regional product of about $6 billion in the Gladstone region. The estimates was about $2.3 billion increase if we were to see a significant military presence in central Queensland. That's a 30% increase to our local economy. That means jobs, that means investment in our community, that means potentially even addressing some of these other issues around health and housing. The military brings a lot of investment and can also contribute potentially to the national strategic defence capabilities, which is a great thing for the nation as well. And ultimately, this is not a decision that would be made by this council. It would be made by Defence Force, be made by governments at higher levels. But I think it's important from a council perspective and from our community's perspective to make sure that you know, we're on the front of those decision makers' minds when they're considering where they might put that investment in future. And certainly all those questions, legitimate questions Councillor Muscat raised, will have to be worked through in future. But I'm happy to move this strategic priorities list.
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Branthwaite. Any further questions or comments? Councillor O'Grady. Oh. No further questions or comments? Thank you. I moved in Councillor Goodluck, secondly Councillor Branthwaite. I put the motion. All in favour? Those against? The motion is carried. Thank you. We'll move to the next item on the agenda. Thank you, Helen. Is 4.2, which is naming of council asset infrastructure, Ella J. Court. I'll hand over to the Acting General Manager of Customer Experience, Ali Moore. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and good morning, councillors. For this report, I just want to raise that since the publication of the agenda, we have identified an oversight in the report and are seeking to defer the report to the 1st of August 2023 general meeting.
Okay, move Councillor Churchill, second, Councillor Hanson. This is just for 4.1?
Just
4.2 rather?
Yep.
Okay,
4.1 for Ella J. Court.
Yeah, 4.2.
4.2. 4.2.
So, sorry, you're right.
Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Move Councillor Churchill, second, Councillor Hanson. Any questions? No? Put the motion. All in favour? Thank you. That's deferred. All right, thank you, Ellie. The next item is 4.3, which is naming of council infrastructure, asset infrastructure, Shapeland Road. Back to you.
Thank you. So this application has been lodged to add and utilise the name Shapeland Road to the approved place names register in recognition of the current Shapeland family that reside at 4499 Lowmid Road, Berrijondo. The area requested is private property access via a road reserve that is unmade and unformed, and also is a track that runs through two landlocked private properties that provide access to the applicant's property. The application has been assessed against Council's naming of infrastructure assets policy and corporate standard, and we recommend to refuse this application on the basis that the road that's already formed already has a name, and the rest of the track is also got some private property in it. So I have Shane Wales, Manager of Customer Solutions, here to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions, councillors? Okay. All right, I'll have a mover for the officer's recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Seconded, Councillor O'Grady. Put the motion. All in favour? Motion's carried.
Could I just ask a question off that, Mr Mayor, now that that resolution's gone forward, in light of what the Shapeland family are trying to do, is there some way perhaps that we could work with the Shapeland family to determine appropriately, not necessarily from your area, but from our community engagement area, to determine appropriately whether there could be some other form of recognition for them within that part of the district?
I can definitely take that on notice and have those conversations with some of our other areas of the business.
I'm not actually suggesting moving a motion, but just simply asking our officers now, because of the good intent that they did have and their contribution to that area within the region, that there may be some possible way that that could be done through you, Madam CEO.
If I may, Mr Mayor, I was just going to suggest we could always add to the naming register. There could be an application for that, but not assigned to a particular road at the moment. Is that if there's no option there, that could be one option. But there's memorial plaques and all sorts of things for later down the track that we recognise people for as well. But certainly that's an option to add to the approved names register. If Council
Yeah, lovely, thank you. Now that the resolution has been moved in relation to the policy, there should be a way to be able to do that, so thank you.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head then. Add to the naming register. Then they can definitely
Absolutely.
be used.
That or any other options that perhaps may be considered relevant to that part of the district and or the region.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank
G 4.4, which is naming of council asset infrastructure, Latoria Lane. Back to you, Ellie.
Thank you. So this application has been submitted to name a road within a new development, DA 238-2016. That's located off Bradford Road to Lena. The application is to add and utilise the name Latoria Lane on the unnamed road. The application was assessed against Council's naming of infrastructure corporate standard and policy and meets the required criteria. So our recommendation is to add Latoria Lane to the approved place name register and approve the use of the name Latoria Lane for the unnamed road in the approved ROL application, DA 238-2016.
Thank you. Councillor O'Grady moving, seconded Councillor Hanson. Any further questions? You're getting off very lightly this morning. Okay, put the motion on. Hang on, sorry. Councillor Branthwaite, Nilly.
No, sorry, Mr Mayor. It wasn't actually, I was just making a comment about where the Latoria comes from. It's quite interesting that, and it's, even though the people that are watching in sort of got no association with the name, it's signed, it's written here, scientific name for a frog due to its prominence of the green tree frogs in the area. So, yeah, it's quite relative to the area.
It is. And fantastic to see that subdivision. Yeah. Fantastic part of the region, let me tell you. Okay, moved.
Not the best part of Gladstone.
I didn't say best, I said fantastic. Fantastic part. Every part's the best part, Councillor Hanson. I've got movers and seconders. Rachel, you've got those. I'll put the motion, all in favour. Thank you, it's carried. Excellent. We'll move to 4.5, which is naming of council asset infrastructure, Booyard Avenue, Darrawah Street and Yarra Avenue. This is a great outcome from a previous resolution or previous recommendation.
Yes, thank you. So this application was originally refused at Council General Meeting on the 21st of February 2023 due to the names not being suitable. The applicant has submitted a new application to utilise the names of Booyoo Avenue, Darrawah Street and Yaya Avenue from the approved place names register within the new development of Red Rover Road, Kalamunda. So the application has been assessed against our council's naming of infrastructure assets policy and corporate standard, including the renaming of the existing named road, Megan Road. So we recommend a two-part recommendation that council approves the application to utilise Booyoo Avenue, Darrawah Street and Darwah Street, available on council's approved name register in the locations existing within that development application, and refuse the proposal to rename the existing Megan Road to Yaya Avenue.
Councillor Churchill, question.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for the report as well. Two questions. We're not going to allow Yaya Avenue to be named there because of the previous name, Megan Road, and that is consistent with the policy?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Do we know the basis of what the Megan Road originally was? Because you find some inconsistency with that development there. You've got the three new ones and then not accepting Yaya. So was there a basis for Megan Road being named Megan Road?
I don't actually
historically?
I don't have the answer to that. I'd have to take the question on notice and find out.
Yeah, not that I'm wanting to overturn the recommendation, but just trying to get some level of consistency. And do the proponents know that the recommendation is not going to, Yaya is not going to be accepted based on the fact that Megan Road was already named?
They had that on their application, that they were aware that that road possibly was already named Megan Road.
That was the intent of my question, to making sure that the proponents were well aware of it prior to. Thank you for that.
Yeah, can't go renaming No, and it's a good outcome because originally they were using other names and they've now used names from our register, and if the Queensland Government can't use our name register, then pretty much sure no one will.
I'm happy to move it if there's, unless you've got other questions.
No further questions? I move Councillor Churchill, seconded Councillor Brentwaite. It is the Queensland Government that put these in, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Economic Development Queensland.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, put the motion. All in favour? It's carried. Thank you. There we go. That's the naming of infrastructure. The next is a memorial plaque on council asset, the Handley sisters. Back to you, Ellie.
Thank you. So this application has been received to install a memorial plaque in memory of a group of sisters from a long-standing family within the community. The Henley family have a history dating back to 1919 within the Boyne Island community, and a family relative has requested to memorialise this group by placement of a plaque. The chosen location is on a shade shelter located at Tarcoola Drive, Boyne Island. The location is significant as it is located near the land the family donated where the St Luke's Church is situated on Malpass Street. The application has been assessed against the criteria set within the administrative process, and we recommend that Council approves the application to install the memorial park.
Yeah. Move Councillor Hanson, seconded Councillor Goodluck. I'm sure that's what your hands were up for. Any further questions? No, put the motion. All in favour. It's carried. Thank you. And thank you, Ali. Next we have G4.7 and Shane. Yeah, thank you. You're right. No, where was I? G4.7, which is 2023-2024, general sole and specialised supplies. I hand over to the Acting General Manager of Finance, Governance and Risk, Carly Quinn. Thank you, Carly.
Thank you. Good morning. As you're aware, Council is legislatively bound in relation to its procurement processes. We cannot enter into a medium-sized contract arrangement, which is over $15,000, without seeking quotes from 3 potential suppliers. In some instances, we procure, or items we procure may come from a supplier who is the only source of that service or that item, or a supplier that may provide a specialised service. The legislation allows for purchase from these suppliers by resolution, but where we can foresee annual or recurring purchases of this nature with these suppliers, it's become typical that councils apply the legislation and prepare an annual report seeking one resolution from council rather than coming to council potentially 30 to 40 times throughout the year. Section 1 of the officer's recommendation details suppliers that council consider to be sole suppliers, so that is the only suppliers reasonably available to deliver the relevant product or service for the 23-24 year. And this is tested annually to ensure that the situation hasn't changed before they're brought back for resolution. Section 2 are suppliers that are considered to be of a specialist or a confidential nature of services. They are not considered to be sole suppliers. Officers are still bound to ensure value for money on all purchases, and there may be occasions where quotes are still sought for services from suppliers on the specialised list. The resolution is not the only part of our procurement standard that our officers are bound by and need to consider when making a purchase. It is, however, one of the levers that Council has to implement to provide efficiencies in our procurement processes by having suppliers available to test, quote, or directly purchase with. We have our Manager Procurement in the room, Christy Wachner. Also, if we have any specific, you're welcome to come up, Christy, if you like. If we have any specific questions around any of the suppliers on the list.
No, I know there's an easy one. So for the Coastal Rag, obviously, they're the only people you can, not the only, but they're one of the people, it's not a sole supplier, but it's someone who you can buy your advertising in the Coastal Rag, and I see the others on there as well. The Ins and Outs publication in Baffle Creek, so would that be one that is on there as well? I can't see it anywhere, but it's, I don't know if it's still, well, I know I don't know if it's still going either, but it's been, like, I'm sure it wasn't that long ago I read one. It's usually monthly or every 2 months, but okay, maybe it's not. What a shame. But if it is, we certainly should add them onto our list as well. Okay.
I can take that on notice and have it.
Yeah. I haven't seen a hard copy for a long time. Anyway, it was good publication for the local community there as well, if it was still going. Yeah, that's it from me. Any other questions, councillors?
Just that this is quite overwhelming, the amount of sole suppliers and we have here. Yeah, just looking at them and trying to go through them, well, yeah. Just an overwhelming amount.
Yeah, so confirming the first section is the sole suppliers, but there is a very long list of the specialised suppliers, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, it's just there's some things in here like kind of, the parts for specific vehicles, and that's just kind of how it is, I guess.
Yes.
Well, yes, probably before you move it, not necessarily, but because you can use somewhere like a Maxi Parts or something and get parts. As long as it doesn't void your warranty, sometimes it's very beneficial with being frugal with ratepayer dollars to buy a part that works just as good. So there's not much difference, I understand, if you buy paracetamol or Panadol. But sometimes you might pay more for the brand name. That might not do much different. Nothing offense to Panadol. But that's the same I see with parts as well. But yeah, sometimes you have to buy the brand name. Councillor Goodluck, were you a question or were you moving? Or do you want to disagree with me too?
Mr Mayor, and you make a very valid point, but I've also heard a saying in the trade, the poor man pays twice. So sometimes it's just better off going with the original mates.
Yeah.
I know this topic is always quite interesting. I think it's important that the community does understand that being on the specialised supplier does not mean that they are the only supplier that we can use. This is a lever that we have to provide more efficiencies when we do go to purchase, but we still are bound by a corporate standard.
Sorry, we'll add one more in there. You've got Central Queensland Media Proprietary Limited's CQ Today, publishers of CQ Today. You probably want them to have publishers of Gladstone Today as well, because otherwise you're buying advertising in the publication that's filled mostly with Rockhampton News, which is fine if you want to advertise, say, Luminous to our neighbours. But if you want to advertise to our community, probably Gladstone Today, I think you might need to add that into that as well. Much better publication. Anyway. Move, Councillor Goodluck. Seconded, please. Can you with that amendment? Seconded, Councillor O'Grady. Any further questions? Put the motion. All in favour? That's carried. Okay, thank you. Next item is 4.8, which is our external audit interim management letter. Back to you, Carly.
Thank you.
And Jess.
Our Queensland Audit Office interim report for 2023 has been received and submitted to Council consideration today for your noting. The interim report overall is a good outcome with no new significant deficiencies identified. Deficiencies are generally raised in these reports in three categories: significant deficiency, deficiency or other matters. We've had 4 new deficiencies and no new significant deficiencies identified. There are also 2 unresolved deficiencies from the prior year that are still being outworked. The report details all 6 of these, as well as a status update on the solutions being outworked and a due date for each option. Each action, and as none of the items are identified as significant deficiencies or what we would consider critical risks, Council's risk management framework has been used to help prioritise and set the deadlines to ensure that our risks are being managed. Our auditors are aware of the proposed actions and the timeframes and have not elevated any concern with the proposed pathway forward, and these have also been shared with our Audit Risk and Improvement Committee. I have our Financial Controller Jess Rosso here, who's generally in charge of a lot of these actions, so can answer any specific questions if you have any.
I don't think you're in charge of all these actions,
No,
Jess. I'm not going to put
I think 4 of the 6,
that on
though,
you.
a significant amount.
Definitely
Matters previous
Yes.
reported, I was going to ask if the auditors are comfortable with those extended dates, especially 22 IR1 and 2020 CR3. Are they comfortable with the way we've extended those dates out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. I don't have the numbers, sorry, they'll be in here. So those 2 outstanding items that we have from the prior year, the first one is surrounding work in progress and our capitalisation. So we are adequately staffed in our asset accounting area once again, so that's a work in progress, and we are expecting to have that resolved and in a better shape for the next year. The other one relates to our procure to pay activity, which is part of the transformation and works delivery initiative. So that piece of work, we need to make sure we're doing that at the appropriate time. So it's part of the scheduling that we're doing in that activity and part of obviously the additional budget allocation for 23-24 to get some of that work off the ground. So they're comfortable with those responses we've worked through with them.
And I too take comfort in that explanation, Jess. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for Carly or Jess? No? Move on. Move Councillor Muscat, second Councillor Hanson. Put the motion, all in favour. It's carried. Thank you, Jess. And one more for you, Carly, 4.9, which is Japan delegation.
Yes. So international investment in the Gladstone region is really continuing to grow and interest is heightening. Our economic transition roadmap is also so highly valued that the Premier has invited our Mayor to attend a delegation to Japan with her and her team. The report details the opportunities. Our economic development specialist has done a bit of research and some work with the Tourism Investment Queensland with TIQ to understand what the opportunity is and what kind of, how we can maximise the opportunities and have the right meetings with the right people while we're over there. And so the report is before you to support that delegation.
Thank you. It was with Trade Investment Queensland, though, not Tourism Investment.
Oh, sorry, yes.
I promise you there's not much tourism happening. Well, there probably is tourism, but...
TIQ.
Thank you. Questions to Carly or myself? Thank you. I'm looking for a mover, please. I'm sorry?
What sort of cake are you going to bring us this time?
We'll see how we go. I don't know. Thank you. Move Councillor Goodluck, seconded Councillor Cameron. Put the motion, all in favour, and it's carried. Thank you, team. We'll report when I get back, but we are meeting with some significant partners, obviously ones that are already developing here in Central Queensland Hydrogen Project, but some other ones as well, Iwatani, ENEOS, Mitsubishi. So some exciting stuff that's already happening and some other stuff that will hopefully be happening. Yeah, that's the plan. The next item on the agenda is, thank you, Carly, is councillor reports. Do we have any councillor reports? I'm going to throw Councillor O'Grady out there. Come on, you've got to talk about the Inland Rail Trail. That was pretty exciting stuff. That's a significant investment from our water board to open up that next trail, and it wouldn't have happened without people like yourself.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, so Gorb can take the credit because they got the funding, $1 million worth of funding to do this section. It is 3.5 kilometres from Boyndale Bush Camp Rail Trail head to the 4 Mile Scrub. If you do take, there's a off-road, track you can take, and if you're walking, unfortunately you can't take bikes or horses on the off-track, but you can't take horses at the moment on the rail trail. So, so it's about 6 kilometres going down through the 4 Mile Scrub, and it's absolutely beautiful. I went and had a look the other day. So, but hats off to you, Mr Mayor, for riding the 7 kilometres back, and you did it in record time, I'm sure you did. And I tried catching you. I gave you a head start, but so thank you to Gorb for investing in that, and it's talk about heading north for Gorb, so which is great, also on the Gorb land, and the Boyne Inland Rail Trail has been working with Gorb to come up with an outcome. So this is a fantastic outcome. We'd love now to see from working from 4 Mile Scrub down to Ngurin, and then we'll have it all open from Riddler Creek up to Boyndale Bush Camp, so that people could ride from Yubobo Discovery Centre all the way. So so it would be fantastic. So, but opens a lot of doors, so which is great. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Branthwaite.
I was actually going to bring up the same thing. I think, to be honest, I think the situation, the position that the rail trail is in now is through the tenacity of Deasley and the Councillor Grady and the group of the Boyne Burnett Inland Rail Trail group. I think without their, I suppose, tenacity is probably the best word to describe it. We wouldn't be where we are now. I think it's a real hats off to you and the rest of the group. I think it's absolutely marvellous. The other thing I was going to mention was recently you invited me down to accompany you down to the Australian National Assembly in Canberra as an observer. I have to admit it's the first time I've been to a convention or a conference such where we've got 500 and something councils represented, and I think it was nearly 1,200 or 1,300 delegates at this particular convention. What was the resounding thing that I took out of that was the difficulties that everyone in a regional area, and probably in the metro area as well, is having with their housing, and it's something that this council is addressing as we speak. but also the passionate appeals from regional areas, from Longreach, from Barclay, and it's just all around that there are issues that they're having because they can't get skilled trade, they can't get supplies. The cost of something is going through the roof. We've noticed that through our own budgets. There's also the funding that the assistance funding from the federal government. It's just amazing. What we're experiencing here isn't uncommon right across the whole country. Now, I was also privileged to watch our mayor in action on the last morning. He was invited as we're out for dinner, and he said, "Oh, I've got to go." He's now a stand-in for a panel on the Friday morning with the Minister for Housing.
Minister for Infrastructure, Transport, Catherine King, and the Minister for Assistant Minister for Finance, Stephen Jones. That's right. So there was probably 900 people to 1,000 in the room, and the Mayor actually got to speak. We've actually put that video that I recorded up on LinkedIn and also on other social platforms. I have to say it was from a position of pride that I listened to Mayor Matt talk passionately about our region and how this council and this region is leading the way with the transition through the different, I suppose, energy platforms that we're about to experience. And our experience is obviously a lot different to the likes of Callide or the likes of like Banana Shire and Central Highlands. As you know, their changes will be completely different to what ours is. So the motions that we put forward as a council to assist with that transition have been met by unanimous applause. But the way our mayor spoke, it actually nearly got a standing ovation on 3 occasions, and he only spoke for 10 minutes. It was pretty cool to watch, I have to admit, him go, especially we're talking about inland railers, and bang, he was straight onto it. And it was really cool to watch, Matt. It really was. It was I was very proud, and hopefully from the reactions that I've seen on social media is that a lot of other people are very proud as well. Thank you. Thanks, Dags. It's pretty easy to talk about something you love, and they had an opportunity. Someone brought up inland rail. They weren't getting away with that. Councillor, good luck.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Councillor Daz, you didn't happen to stand up and speak against the Mayor on the motion at all? Or?
No, I watched you two go for it. No, I didn't. I was quite happy to sit back and just let it all happen.
We are hosting the Local Government Association of Queensland conference in Gladstone this October, so there'll be plenty of opportunities for the Deputy Mayor and myself to go head to toe on debate motions against each other, which is always nice and fun. Councillors, any further councillor reports? No further councillor reports. There's no urgent business, no notices of motion and no confidential items. Declare the meeting closed at 9:45 a.m. Thank you for your attendance.